The applause was the part I hadn't prepared for. The lawyer had just finished the line, "All 6 Miami Beach condos go to my son," when my uncle leaned back in his chair, smiling like he'd closed a deal. Someone at the table actually clapped. A cousin laughed. The room filled with a strange, celebratory energy, as if I had just been written out of a game everyone else was relieved to finish. "She gets nothing," my uncle added, "not reading now, performing." I didn't look at him. I looked at the lawyer. He was still reviewing the document, eyes scanning ahead, unaware of the victory lap unfolding beside him. My hands were folded in my lap. I had practiced that posture, calm, neutral, almost detached. I had expected this. For years, my uncle managed my grandmother's affairs. He filtered phone calls. He handled paperwork. He decided who needed to know what. I visited her without announcements. I stayed late at the hospital when everyone else had meetings. I listened. That difference mattered more than anyone realized. When the noise in the room settled, I spoke softly. "You really don't know, do you?" The lawyer looked up first. My uncle's smile faltered. "Know what?" He snapped. I kept my voice even. "When was this will drafted?" 6 months ago, the lawyer replied, and the property list attached were the deeds independently verified. A pause. Small, but real. "They were provided by your uncle." I nodded once and reached into my bag. The folder inside had been there for months. I placed it on the table and slid it toward him. "These are certified copies from the county recorder," I said. 3 of the 6 condos were transferred into a living trust 8 months ago. 2 months before this will. The air shifted. My uncle let out a short, disbelieving laugh. "That's impossible. I handle all her documents." The lawyer was already reading. Page after page, dates, recording numbers, notary stamps, my grandmother's signature, steady and deliberate. Attached was a physician's letter confirming her legal competency at the time of transfer. The room had gone completely silent. "These properties," the lawyer said carefully, tapping the top page, "were placed into the Marquez family trust prior to the execution of this will. Assets within the trust are not governed by the will. They are outside probate." The applause from earlier felt like it belonged to a different afternoon. "She manipulated her." My uncle said, "But the certainty was gone." "I visited her," I replied. That was the difference. I didn't argue about loyalty or fairness. I didn't accuse him of isolating her. I didn't mention the evening she asked me to drive her, not to his attorney, but to one she had chosen herself. Independent, quiet, uninvolved. She hadn't been angry when she made the changes. She had been clear. "I want balance," she'd said. The lawyer gathered both sets of documents into a single stack. His tone shifted fully into procedure. "Distribution will need to pause. We'll notify the court of the trust's existence. Until this is reviewed, no transfers can occur." That was the moment control moved, not with shouting, not with threats, with process. My cousin stared at the table. My uncle avoided my eyes. The certainty he'd performed had dissolved into contingency. "This isn't over," he said finally. "I know," I answered, and I did. There would be legal reviews. Conversations that strained what little civility remained. Holidays that felt colder. Power rarely shifts without consequence. But I hadn't come for spectacle. For years, I had been the quiet one. The helpful niece. The one who didn't challenge the louder voice in the room. Being underestimated had given me something useful: time. The lawyer began explaining next steps in measured detail. No one interrupted him. Authority, once engaged, didn't require applause. I closed my folder and slid it back into my bag. My hands were steady now, not triumphant, just grounded. As chairs scraped and people stood to leave, the mood felt different, thinner, unsettled. The celebration had evaporated, replaced by uncertainty. I walked out without saying goodbye. Outside, the ocean looked unchanged, calm. Indifferent to inheritance battles and family pride, I didn't feel victorious. I felt corrected. I hadn't taken anything from anyone. I had simply refused to be erased. Sometimes quiet empowerment isn't about winning. It's about making sure the record is accurate.